This is a Decentered Media vlog with me, Rob Watson. Conversations about community media. Visit decentered.co.uk or follow on Instagram and Twitter at Decentered Media. Hello, Rob Watson here. It's Friday the 22nd of October and I've come over to Coventry for there's an event on tomorrow which is about community radio, so I'm going to go to that. So I'm staying overnight, and today I thought I'd come and have a look around the town and catch up with the Capital of Culture stuff. I'm booked in to see the Turner Prize later, so I'll do that in a bit. It's actually the first time that I've ever been to Coventry, which is really bizarre because I've lived here I've lived in the Midlands for nearly 30 years now, bizarrely. And when you come live in Leicester, what happens is you say to people, "Oh, do you fancy going to Coventry?" And they say, "Why would I want to go to that dump?" And it really puts you off. And then I kind of realised, why don't I kind of use my own judgment and explore for myself and find out what places are like, rather than succumbing to peer pressure. Anyway, so I'm at the cathedral. I'm going to have a look around. I haven't had a coffee for a while, so I need to find somewhere to have a little drink. And yeah, I'll have a wander around the town and do some exploring. See you in a bit.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm following this and it's there, but every time I go, it goes the opposite way.
So I was kind of under the impression that Coventry was quite brutal, and that the demolition after the Second World War had left it in a state where wasn't really anything to redeem itself. And actually, I'm really pleasantly surprised. As you can see, there are still elements of the medieval town still here, although I would kind of argue that with the cars that are allowed to block up the roads, it doesn't really show it off to its best effect. But yeah, it's quite nice so far. Let's just keep exploring. So this is not the nicest area that I've walked in. It's a car park, and they've built the side of a car park beside me, and I'm struggling to find somewhere for a coffee. You know, I'm always drawn to independent coffee shops rather than chains, but I'll have to do a Google search, so I might end up going to somewhere like Starbucks or somewhere like Costa. Don't really do pubs, even though there's plenty of Wetherspoons around where you know you can get coffee. I think it's there's got to be more options than, you know, it's that idea that I've travelled over from Leicester and I want to try out places that you can't get in Leicester. It's the same with most British cities, unfortunately, that there's such a high degree of standardisation that small independents do find it difficult to get established and identify a sustainable market, and people's tastes tend to be drawn to, you know, large brands. But we'll have a look, and if I find anything, I'll let you know.
cambia ni lazy man or then like how
It was not even 2 minutes, it was like 30 seconds.
huh?
It was 30 seconds.
This looks quite fun. Just by Coventry Transport Museum, which is where the event is taking place tomorrow. So I'll just take a moment to walk up this gangway. There's definitely been a lot more building taking place in Coventry in the last few years. You've got this wave of the medieval town, the Victorian town, the post-war 50s and 60s town, and now you've got the emergence of the 21st century town. So it's a really interesting mix. No idea where this pathway goes to. Hopefully it'll bring me out into a park or something so I can sit and have a spot of lunch. Yeah, this looks like it'll be quite pleasant. Let's have a look on Google to find out where it actually is. Still a very car-based city. Like much of the cities in the Midlands, inner ring roads. I'm not sure how much longer they will remain in place, but as a pedestrianised city, if it's maintained, you can see that it's got some potential to be a quite pleasant city space, living space. So, right, let's go and find some lunch or a spot to sit down to have a bite to eat. I don't know the difference between the private and the public spaces around here, so I'll maybe find a bench down here. Prawns. Nice big bag of prawns for lunch. Right, well, I just had a look around the Turner exhibition, and there's a couple of good pieces I enjoyed, but overall very disappointing in terms of how it's hosted. There's no bag park, so I'm walking around with like a really heavy bag. There's no cloakroom where you can drop your bags off, and I thought, you know, if you're going to be getting people coming up from around the country to see an exhibition, it's fairly straightforward that you have a bag, a place to put your bags. Bizarre really, and a bit lifeless. There was, you know, the museum was empty. When I went to the Turner Prize a few years ago in Liverpool, it was packed, and you know, it had a bit of life around it. The cafe was like a morgue. I don't know, maybe it's me having, you know, it's Friday afternoon. I think part of the issue that I've kind of, the design concept for the promotional material for the City of Culture just seems very abstract. It doesn't really connect. I've not really seen any photos of what the culture and the life is of the city. I mean, there's a couple of good photography exhibitions that I've seen, kind of street-based ones, and they're fine. But you know, the main material is really just really boring. So anyway, I'm now going to go and check into my hotel and drop my bags off, and then have a rest, and then maybe I'll be in a better mood. I mean, I always say with art exhibitions that you kind of got to go twice to get a sense, and if you're drawn back to it, then you know it's a good exhibition. And there were one or two good moments in there, but it kind of just needed a few more people around. Maybe the social distance and having to book in, and the numbers and monitor the numbers and stuff like that has restricted a kind of feel that there's something going on. But no, let's see. I'll try and find other people who've been to it. I haven't really looked at any reviews. You know, might just be me having an off moment. Anyway, let's go and see if I can find where I'm staying. See you in a bit. Right, finding my room. It's on the second floor. Funky little hotel. Doesn't look like your typical travel hotel from the outside. There we go. Hooray! Let's put, there we go, some light. So, let's see what it's got. It's got a TV, it's got a mirror, it's got a bed, kettle, tea and coffee, bit of a wardrobe, it's got a hairdryer, it's got an awful view of some office blocks, and it's got a kind of pod toilet and shower, but it's well lit. Yeah, this'll do. Small. I'm sure I'll have a decent night's sleep here. Yeah, let's get unpacked and see. Morning. Today is Saturday the 23rd of October. What time is it? It's nearly 9 AM and I'm in Coventry. Came up yesterday, and this morning I'm going to be attending an event, where have I put the email, which is about community radio, and has been organised as part of the Capital of Culture. So the event is a community radio conference, and it's connecting, learning and showcasing community radio at its best. And taking part today are people from across radio, the radio industry, both BBC, commercial and community, who are sharing their expertise and their knowledge about how you can use community media for community radio for social impact, how you can raise funds to do your work, how you can submit for awards, and how you can, what I'm particularly interested in is how you can use radio as a creative practice itself. So the event is taking place at the Transport Museum, and the registration's not until about 9:30. So I'm just wondering whether I can find a coffee somewhere that really isn't Wetherspoons, but I might be pushing it, so I'll have a little wander around, and then throughout the day I'm just going to kind of capture a little flavour of what the events and the discussions are about, and drop in some observations and kind of just network with people. That's one thing I'm looking forward to. I've not been to a community media event for a while. I've got, my particular focus is participative arts with the Artworks Alliance. So yeah, let's see how it goes.
As the morning goes on, you're all going to keep coming back to these same seats at various points, and you're going to be like, oh, I wish I was in that seat down there. Why did I sit back there? What was I thinking? So, that can see, he's nearly taking the advice. Full throwback, that's not bad. This man, I feel like an auctioneer now. This man here, he's going to come down the front, aren't you? Yeah, absolutely. Jazz, welcome. Jazz is coming down the front. I don't want to single you out, Jazz, but I know Jazz, so I may as well use her name. Everyone's gone really quiet now. This is good. I like this. Anyone standing at the back, still signing up to workshops, come and sit down. There'll be a moment for you to sign up to workshops straight after the keynote. So please come and sit down so I can get started. Lovely. Welcome, everybody. This is exciting. Welcome to the Community Radio Conference 2021, brought to you by Coventry, the UK City of Culture. You are in the UK City of Culture, everybody. Let's hear some movement for that, for sure. And also partnering with Creative Lives and the UK Community Radio Network. This is very exciting, isn't it, to have you here, and there's an amazing programme lined up for you. Before we get to that, I must let you know about the dull but very important life-saving stuff, which is where the fire exits are. So there's a fire exit.
How we got here. I grew up in a place called the Aldermore in Coventry, a very special place. Anyone here from the Aldermore or grew up in the Aldermore? No? It's okay. It's not fun. But it's a beautiful place, and it taught me a lot. And one thing that we kind of had in mind when we were growing up was, in order to kind of get to where we needed to get to, we kind of had to have a vision in place. Because the way we thought about it was, one day we'll look back and wonder if we had each moment count. The opportunities that arose from the concrete ground, we grabbed in hell.
Literally happening before our very eyes. I'm going to have one more question, I'm afraid, but I'm sure Rebecca will be available to be bombarded straight after. We'll have a 10-minute break in a minute, so thank you.
Sorry.
I'm holding it for COVID reasons, don't snatch it off.
Okay, sorry. So my question may have already slightly been answered, but when I joined community radio, I was 9.
If you tell me the answer to that, I'd love to know, because again, in the dead of night, that plagues me. I think it's important to fish where the fish are. Horrible, sorry phrase. It's really important that we are humble as a medium, I think, when it comes to young people, and we need to be where they are and invite them rather than telling them to go somewhere, because nobody likes that, and certainly not if you're a young person. I would make that sort of massive generalisation. So things like events, Things like competitions are really good. Things like, social media content, kind of an obvious thing to say, but we can't sort of build our castle and expect people to just come or to grow into radio, my least favourite phrase of all time, because it sounds like giving up that to me. But yeah, I think there's several things, so we can have a sort of chat afterwards, but I would sort of say just having that mentality of not just let's make our castle really shiny and hope everyone will come, but let's really go out and let's invite people rather than telling them and selling them to come and listen or be part of it. We've actually got YouTubers and influencers that I've hired at KISS who are good on the radio, don't worry, I don't just put random floggers on the radio, that's awful. And yes, sometimes I think you're really rich, you do loads of like brand deals and you're selling the phone and you're getting, whatever your mortgage paid off. Why on earth do you want to come and do a weekly show on radio? And because they love the family thing, they love the community of it, and they love that weird thing that radio has where it's live, direct, all of those superpowers that we spoke about before. So I think there's hope for the medium yet with young audiences. Yeah, that would be my sort of general tip, mindset. Thank you very much. Thank you so much.
Broadcaster, creator of Lady Unchained. Tony, or do you know, I haven't asked you how to say your name, Tony. Is it Macaluso? Hey, Tony Macaluso! He feels like a character at the Fonz, doesn't he? He's not, although he is American. Co-director of Chapel FM in Leeds. Hey! Simon McCausland, I can say your name, that's fine, good, or Macca, who is the is the Chief Executive Officer at Radio Plus here in Coventry, and chairing it is Mary Dawson, Director of Bradford Community Broadcasting. Please give a big round of applause to your panel.
Thank you very much. Really excited to be here, delighted when I was asked to chair this panel because one, it got me to Coventry in City of Culture 2021, and I live in Bradford, and Bradford is gunning hard to be City of Culture 2025. So yes, I wanted to come and see what was happening here in Coventry. But basically, community engagement and the change that community radio can bring about is absolutely core to what I believe in. 30 years ago, we set up BCB, the community radio station in Bradford, and Rebecca talked about the start of One Extra being a really important moment, and she remembered. I actually remember the start of Radio 1, so not many other people in the room, I think, probably of my age, but my passion for radio has been driven me all my life, because I grew up without a television. My dad got rid of the telly when I was about 5. The physical space and the kind of the space to grow is just so important. I think it's been emphasised by our three panellists this morning. I'd just like to ask each of you really a question before we open it up, and that's around capacity, because we all know that community engagement and real good community engagement takes a lot of time and a lot of resource, and sometimes when you're chasing products like the output on a radio station, the process part of radio, which is working with people, and sometimes there can be a tension within the organisation for that. So I suppose what I'd like you to comment on really, or talk about, is how do we make sure that we engage and really work with people who are not the ones that come and knock on our door? Because we all know who comes and knock on the door and say, I want to be a DJ, I want to be a DJ. That's fine, that's great. But how do we engage those people, and how do we make sure we've got the capacity to do that work and to do it well? I don't know who. Tony, do you want to start?
Yep, sure. A fairly quick answer I'll give, and it's just a very...
Back to Africa. I'm from South London, just so you know. And I am African, but that's not the case. So, this is Dear Mum. Dear Mum, I'm sorry. I know I promised to be good, and I swear I've been trying to hold it down, but see, this place just ain't for me. These officers are more racist than the guy who used to live down the road. The white British inmates are complaining that they ain't got enough white products on the canteen. I personally wouldn't care if they put jollof on the menu. I just want to get out of this hellhole that they tried to disguise as a centre. Did you notice I said white British? I just realised that I was different. See, this place is making me question every single part of my identity. Mum, I swear they're trying to kill me. Remember I told you on the weekends we might as well starve, see, we get breakfast in the morning. Well, that's what they...
Thank you very much. And straight after lunch, by the way, there's a panel discussion about the sound of Cov, which was a huge collaboration we did here, well, in the summer, but over many months, between 8 community radio stations in Coventry. Very, very different voices, very different audiences, very different communities. And the local BBC station, BBC CWR, so that's straight after lunch. That's not a break, you don't have to sign up for it. Everyone gets that.
Inclusive,
whether they like it or not.
diverse,
But it really speaks to what you were saying about working
underestimated,
together with
more than stereotype DJs.
is
giving back to the community.
Community radio is
giving back to family and friends.
Community radio is
always raw, sometimes surprising.
Community radio is
a fusion of local sound.
Community radio is
to care about people, engage with them,
radio is
bring the community together and give voice to people.
Community radio is
an opportunity to share something.
Community radio is
your world's stories.
Community radio is my happy place.
Community radio is
a passion to inform, entertain and educate.
Community radio is
the glue that joins the community.
Community radio is
a total delight.
Allowing the community to be involved in
radio
local issues, creating informal discussion, having a diverse music policy and ensuring equality.
Community
and
radio
diversity.
is
a platform of different
community
voices
radio is
from every community coming alive. Community radio is
Community radio
300
is
different rivers, some of which you can even go swimming in.
Community radio is
a place for people to tell their stories.
community radio is
community radio is
where the heart of a place beats to its own
Community
drum.
radio is
giving
Community
people a voice,
radio
informing
is
and encouraging participation.
Community radio is
a space to reimagine.
Community
who we
radio
are.
is
community radio
inclusive,
is
diverse, underestimated, more than stereotype.
Community radio
DJs.
is
giving back to the community.
Community radio is giving back to family and friends.
Community radio is
always raw.
community
sometimes
radio
surprising.
is a fusion of local sound. Community radio is
Well, I was going to do some reflections on the train on the way back, and Unfortunately, it was really busy, and by the end of the conference I was really tired, and the train was packed, so I didn't get the chance to reflect on anything and identify anything that I thought stood out from the day or from the trip to Coventry. But really thanks to Creative Lives and the UK Community Radio Network for helping to bring this together and put the conference on. We definitely need more events like this. We need 3 or 4 of them a year in different parts of the country, and spread out the ideas and bring lots of different types of people in and together to really show what community media has the potential to do. It was great to listen to some poetry, it was great to take part in some sound art, and it was great to have some conversations with Sam from Maxwave, Joe Coleman, Lucinda and Alice, with Martin, with just so many people that are Leona. I'm trying to remember all the people that I spoke to during the day, and it was just nice to meet up with people that you know and to connect and talk about stuff that you think is relevant and important. But also, I think there was a real sense that, in a way, after the lockdown and after the pandemic, that community media has to step up a bit, and it has to engage in ways that, I mean, it's almost, you know, the kind of things that we have to deal with climate crisis and with inequality and with, you know, all the social pressures that we've got to deal with. We've got to come up with ways to take people along with us, and there's a real feeling that the large-scale corporations can't and no longer do this. They've got very formatted, brand-based output. The BBC seems very distant because it's run it's very managerial in the way that it does things, process-led. It doesn't have an embodied model of citizenship at its heart anymore, and I think that's a gap that community media can, in all its forms, not just radio, can occupy. And I think the Creative Lives approach is great. It really is about taking people's creative expectations and building on that to help people to discover. And it was a message from some of the speakers, you know, to you hear yourself, you find out about yourself, you become something in the process of creating content, media that is shared within a network or a community of similarly minded, like-minded people. It's not about being professional, it's not about worrying about, you know, the sophisticatedness of your playout system or, you know, kind of what your studios look like. It's down to the stories that you tell, and it's down to the way that you engage people to be part of the process. And at that foundational core of community media is that sense of participation, and this is about belonging. It's about a sense of identity. It's about a sense of who we are, not being told who we are because somebody's done some kind of a market survey, but actually it's ourselves expressing who we are, and expressing that well or expressing that badly, and not waiting for other people to come along and tell us who and how we might do things. So I'm really looking forward to a few issues with the Coventry, the capital of culture communications. For me, it didn't really seem a bit like Coventry. It could have been anywhere, but, you know, hey, let's live with that. And I'm certainly going back, and I certainly want to see the Turner exhibition again, so the Turner Prize exhibition. So yeah, really nice day, really nice couple of days, some lovely squirrels. Let's get out and meet up and do stuff again in the future. You've been watching a Decentered Media vlog with me, Rob Watson. To find out more, go to decentered.co.uk or follow on Twitter and Instagram @Decentered Media.